All over the world, heritage is made by history, and yet history is one of the most dynamic subjects in the world. We're always learning about what we didn't know. So you see, there's a strong case for the fact that after 400 years of slave trade and over 100 years of direct colonial rule, Africa has lost its collective memory. Its consciousness of who he is has been dispersed across the globe. The effect has been devastating. This dark continent, we are told, didn't have a history. It's full of barbarians. It had no useful contribution to world historical events of mankind. They were savages to be civilized. We now know that this is simply not true. Our libraries, our universities, our language, our constructions, and sophisticated artistry have now been liberated to the collective mind. But there's still a lot to do. Did you know, and such other initiatives are here to push further Africa's consciousness.
The fact that if you go back to the geological history and the human history, this is where it all began. We are the mother of humanity. We are the mother of creation. Here in Mpumalanga Barberton, the oldest well-preserved rock formation from 4.5 billion years during the Earth formation, it is here. We have this rich heritage. Unfortunately, through conquest, colonialism, apartheid, that story has been reduced into a footnote, and we need to lift it into a text.
The Beninese are very gracious, very delicate with their culture, and they have guided their culture that has spanned years, thousands of years, jealously. That is why the Beninese were fierce in the resistance of the British when they came in 1897 to abrogate and make nonsense of our culture. No, the Beninese, you don't go there. So when they visited during the Great Igwe Festival, they were told that the Oba cannot see visitors at that time. That Alfonso Davero in the 16th century had written that there's somewhere in sub-Sahara Africa where the organization was second to none. That the streets were paved, more organized than the Great Britain. There are several cities in Europe that they have street lights. Maybe if they have not infiltrated us, maybe they have not forced themselves on us, we would have had our development as rapid as what we are seeing today from the Western world. But they truncated that and didn't allow it. I come from the land of great bliss, of warriors. The men that stood face to face against the British when their culture was to be eroded. They said no. It is not the land of my birth that we say there are no men. So men came up. When they were shooting cannons, bringing out guns, these men stood with woods. They stood with their own war weapon and fought. The British thought that in 2 days they would run out the city. That was not to be. The war lasted for years. There are some of the mercenaries that were that came forth as a result of that war lasted about 2 to 3 years before they were able to conquer them.
When we consider again our knowledge systems and then our spirituality, talking about Ifa alone, Ifa is studied all over the world. And in the first stage, it is binary in the first stage. And Ifa itself is the body of knowledge system of the Yorubas, and everything is in it: geography, mathematics of Ifa, philosophy of Ifa, literature of Ifa, and so on. So it's based on a knowledge system. And it's not accidental that we talk about the Okpele service 8-bit random generator. And then the principal primary odus are 16. And then with the other odus, they make 256. That's the basis of the Boolean algebra that was used to develop the computer system.
Lagos, for instance, you have dispatches from the Portuguese traders in the 14th, 15th centuries. One in particular said they found Lagos through the Kurama waters. And through there, they went to visit the traditional ruler's palace. So he had a palace. We had a traditional rulers. We were already in existence. And for you to have a traditional ruler, it means you have a system of governance and you have followings. And that system, that structure is still there till today in this Lagos. The traditional governance of Lagos, that you had the Oba sitting atop of it. We had the king, you had the Oshugbo. The Oshugbo was more or less like the National Assembly, the legislator. Of course, the Oba is the chief executive. And then you have the Okpa, which added like the security outfit, the police and all that. They take charge of the security. And other groupings like that. And we had a perfect system. And contrary to perhaps the European kind of governance, where the king was the lord of all, even we had a system within the structure by which you curtail the excesses of the traditional ruler.
We have the 7 Hausa states, which are the core 7 Hausa states. We have Gobir, we have Kano, we have Zazzau, we have Katsina, we have Daura, we have Rano, and we have Biram. These are the 7 legitimate Hausa states. All these states were in place long before the coming of the Europeans. At least between the 14th and 15th centuries, all these states were highly organized politically, economically, socially, and what have you. Most of them were having large territories with defined borders. So these Hausa states have been in existence since time immemorial. So there's nothing that connects the Hausa people with the people of Baghdad through the Bayajida legend. There's nothing that connects the Hausa people with the Berber people of North Africa or the Tuareg people of the Sahara. So the Hausa people, they are a distinct people.
Kenya also has a very rich record of our ancestry as a species. Fossils that date to as far back as 7 million years ago. And that record is very complete, and it documents how we have evolved as a species from the very simple forms to the very advanced people that we are right now. Researchers have made some wonderful discoveries, and one of Kenya's iconic discovery that any scientist would really is always proud of is the famous Turkana boy. Turkana boy was a young individual who died between the age of 8 to around 12 years old. He lived in the Turkana Basin to the west of Lake Turkana, modern Lake Turkana, and Turkana boy is is the most complete Homo erectus ever discovered in the world.
When we claim affinity with the Jews, we're not saying it simply because we want to identify with the Jews because of their achievement. No. There's a character called Gad, G-A-D. I think he was the seventh son of Jacob. Something happened and the Jews were scattered. Gad had 7, I think either 7 or 12 sons. One of them was Eri. Eri came down to Aguleri, which is 2 brothers, Arodi and Aroni. Aroni gave birth to the Ghana people. Arodi, the Aro kingdom, and then Eri gave birth to Aguleri. That's our own lineage. So we have a lot of links with the Arab people and the Igala people. Now, if you go to Aguleri today, you will see a shrine referred to as Obu Gad. You will see some characters there, and those characters are Israeli characters.
It is on record that about 41% of the slaves that left the shores of Africa were from Nigeria, actually from Nigeria. And out of the 41% that left from Nigeria, 31% actually left from this river here, where we are in Calabar. So this is one place I would ask anyone to visit. You see pictures and sounds, almost real life pictures, of what went down back then during slavery.
Yes, I want to mention the Great Benin Moat. This was a man-made defensive structure, just like the Great Wall of China, dug by men up to 27,000, up to 2,700 feet down the earth to ward off during the period of Obaisigi, to ward off foreign aggression around Benin. They are still there, though not maintained, not preserved. But these were the handiwork of great men that said, okay, so that people don't come and overrun us at night, they dug this around the whole of Benin. It's unbelievable. It's still there, man-made, one of the greatest wonders of this life today.
This is Kuramo waters. where the white man first landed in my country, Nigeria. So much history Kurama Waters has. At the time, white man landed. It was part of the Benin Kingdom. People said the Aworis inherited Awori's own Lagos. As we'll tell you over time now, did you know series? That's not the case. But several wars happened between the 1200 and when the Benin Empire dominated it and won and made Lagos part of the Benin Kingdom. So when the white man came, it was called Ekoloriomi. And it was now abbreviated called pronunciation to Kuramu. Various iterations. These oceans, as you can see, have seen a lot. It must have seen a lot, right? It must have seen a lot of stories, a lot of wars, lot of activities. They say the ocean has no memory. As you can see, each wave comes and goes. This same Kurama Waters links all the way across to the Atlantic. To the first time, Master Abubakar, the ruler of the Malian Empire, in 1200 AD, decided to sail across the Atlantic with 2,000 ships, looking for what across Africa, and led the empire to his brother Mansa Musa, who then became the king. Mansa Musa, the richest man ever in the history of mankind, inherited based on his brother's adventure. Do you know that during the World War II, according to foreignpolicy.com, Africans contributed over 600,000 soldiers to the World War II. That's more than twice the size of Iceland. Most of them also went by ship, these same waters. These waters have blessed us. Have they cost us? Have we cost ourselves? Kurama Waters plays a major role. Kurama Waters is part of our history. Where the white man landed, where people were taken offshore, where trade was taken into the country, across to the entire southwestern part, to the Benin Kingdom, to Abeokuta, to the Oyo Empire. Do you know that these same waters is where they also landed when they came to destroy the Benin Kingdom in 1897? It was a major point of entry for them. So they say the ocean has no memory. They say once it goes in, it's gone. But does it leave no memory behind though? It may hold no memory, but does it leave no memory behind? Now, did you know series? We will follow the Atlantic Ocean across Africa and tell you our story. And I will link to the Indian Ocean where they don't meet and tell you everything that the ocean has left behind in memories that is not kept. Did you know it's part of our own effort at bringing knowledge to those of us who do not know? Like, for example, how can somebody tell me when I was growing up, I don't know whether it was in fact or whether it was fiction or whether it was imagination, that Mungo Park discovered Niger River? How can you discover what was years, thousands of years before you, what nature created? You may have named it or called it something, but you can never discover it. Or even the theory that Niger and Benue met. But did you know? We'll aim to give you information, knowledge, that will empower you and give you pride. We'll follow the ocean, which bounds our beautiful continent, and tell our story. The story being written today is just not up to 700 years old. But yet, in the Malian Empire, we had university under Mansa Musa, the University of Sankore. They said Martin Luther created the first printing press in Europe. So how were our universities back then teaching people in scrolls? It may not have been paper, but we had scrolls where we're sharing knowledge. How come it's convenient for Martin Luther to claim ownership for printing press, but we can't claim ownership for scrolls? Even before BC, you had University of Alexandria in Egypt. There's a lot we don't know about our beautiful continent, about Africa. Africa, my Africa. Did you know?